It is practically a staple food around here, NN said. I have a relative who is a potato farmer, Maomao said. Specifically Lahan's biological father. I thought I had been seeing a lot of them in the marketplace. I wonder if Master Lahan is putting them out there. Huh, basi is it? Yao took a piece of potato in her chopsticks. She seemed amused by the way the syrup trailed long threads after it. It looked as though Maomao had successfully distracted her. They will get cold if we don't eat them. How about we get started? Maomao took one of the buns from the steamer and took a big bite. Here, Lady Yao, use this. NN handed Yao a dampened handkerchief. Yao took the bun and wiped her hands. Then she picked up another one. It's good, she said, but I feel like it's missing something. Please don't compare my cooking to NN's. It's a very good effort for a layperson, Lady Yao. Even NN's remark was a little bit rude. I mean, I am a layperson. Maomao had hoped the food would provide a bit of conversational lubricant, but they ate in silence. The talk never came. NN appeared even more shocked by the earlier discussion than Yao did. What would she do if her precious young lady took up dissection? NN, Maomao knew, always thought of Yao first and foremost. For the time being she batted away every man who got close like a pesky bug. But one day her thoughts would turn to Yao's marriage. I can see it now. If some lordling appeared who could weather NN's gauntlet, Yao would probably be perfectly honest with him about her work. But even a man enlightened enough to accept a woman working would likely struggle to accept the idea of her doing dissections. Besides, we can't have her blabbing about the physician's secrets. There was also the question of how long she could continue to be attached to the medical office as a court lady. Newly created posts often vanished within a few years. Maomao thought there were a lot of obstacles ahead. She knew there were challenges in store for her as well, but she was who she was. As long as she had medicinal ingredients and sick people, she would stubbornly persevere. The three of them were still munching away when the door opened. Having a snack without me, now that is not fair, Tousle Glasses was back. Lahan helped himself to the empty seat as if it were the most natural thing in the world and grabbed one of the remaining dumplings. HRM, it is missing something, keep it to yourself. Why was everyone here so obsessed with flavor? The sweet potatoes seemed to be received favorably. No one criticized them. NN's throat must have been dry, however, for she took a sip of tea. What are your feelings, Master Lahan? She asked as she set down her cup. My feelings on what? What Master Luhumen talked about. To put a finer point on it, I'd like to know what you think about young ladies receiving an education equivalent to a physician's. Do you want to know what I think or what people will think? Both, if possible. Lahan looked at the ceiling and mulled it over. As far as dissection goes, I believe it is necessary. If you fail to move forward, that is the very definition of stagnation. Water that does not flow begins to rot. It was a notably progressive viewpoint. However, making such a practice public at this moment would invite persecution. People fear what is unconventional and they dislike minorities. If you desire a peaceful life, I suggest you stop this somewhat foolish practice of involving yourself with the medical staff immediately. I thought you would be above such things, Master Lahan. Do you believe women should remain at home then? Yao jumped to her feet, very incensed. The table shook, and Maomao grabbed the teacups to steady them. I thought you would judge people on their merits, not their sex, Lady Yao NN said placatingly. Lahan wasn't bothered for his part. You are correct. It is more difficult for a woman to work than a man. A man cannot bear children, although he can raise them. That is stating the obvious. Men and women were biologically different, and the roles they took on were likewise different. It is fundamentally not possible for men and women to do the same work. I recognize, however, that there are a great many women of exceptional abilities. Then why would you tell them to stay at home? You haven't heard all I have to say yet. If you would be so kind, please listen. I believe I said that this was if you want a nice quiet life. Men and women are not and cannot be on equal terms in the workplace. Women inevitably carry more non-business related burdens. If both people are walking down the same road and one is in shackles, something is needed to make up the difference. This could be vastly greater knowledge or physical strength, for example. You will need more than that simply to stand on the same ground. That is right, you already understand then. Being a doctor is considered demanding work even among men. For a woman to enter that field, she would need much ability and more conviction. meaning that if your decision can be swayed one way or the other by my opinion, then I think you had better quit and go home. Lahan was usually so decorous around women, but when he decided to speak his mind, he certainly did so. Yao and Inen sat frozen. I believe women should be allowed to do the same work as men. However, not every woman can or should go into the working world. Besides, our society as it stands isn't very welcoming to working women. There are many incompetent men out there and women too. Even within a single group, individuals are different. Therefore, not everyone can work well when they are already burdened. If you think something sounds too difficult, or if you don't think you can manage it, isn't it logical to find something else to do with your life? Maomao actually found herself agreeing with Lahan, but with Yao present, she decided not to nod openly. He continued, addressing Yao. From what you say, one might believe that going to work is the only true path. Looking after the household then seems pointless and insignificant. But I believe that idea itself could be an error. We often see diligent officials at a drinking party criticize their wives as being ineffective. However, they are frequently controlled by their wives. The more successful you become, the more important refinement is. Clothes, as they say, make the man. There are exceptions, of course. However, a man without any distinguishing talents needs to look good instead. The less talent he has, the better he needs to look. So his wife puts together an ensemble, puts his shoes on for him, and sends him out the door. If anything, I think you might be a little too critical of women who cannot or do not work outside the home, but instead stay at home. We will not say exactly who he was thinking about when he spoke. Yao opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something, but she could not respond. My mother was selected by my grandfather to be my father's wife. She has a great deal of pride. Any furniture you see here that is tasteful, she purchased herself. She used the last of her financial resources to buy it. What grieved her most when she was chased from this household was that she would no longer enjoy the sparkling life of the capital. At first glance you might think she had no redeeming qualities, but she did have good taste. When furnishings from this household were sold, many of them fetched nearly the same price they had when new. Some of them had even appreciated in value. If I had been a little more clever at the time, I might have found some other means of employment for my mother. I wouldn't have had to let her be shuffled off to the countryside. She would have been much more successful as the wife of a merchant, or as a merchant herself, than married to a simple man of the La family. To be fair though, my mother is too strong-willed to have become a merchant, or to have consented to marrying a mere businessman. Lahan had become quite talkative, yet somehow nothing he said made Maomao want to offer a sarcastic comment. What exactly are you getting at, Master Lahan? Nen asked. I have been a little too roundabout. My point is simple. I have become quite stubborn, and I dislike seeing capable people choose a path that does not suit their talents. It is very inefficient and not beautiful. You are both talented, so whether you work in the public eye or offer support from behind the scenes, I am sure you will do well. Whether you will achieve mastery is another question. To see someone pursue what they really want, though, the passion itself makes the pursuit beautiful, questions of efficiency aside. In sum, for Lahan, the matter seemed to come down to whether or not it agreed with his aesthetics. He sipped some tea, then rose from his seat looking quite pleased with himself. If you don't mind, I'll excuse myself now. He wiped his glasses and then left. Maomao rested her chin on her hands and watched him go. No one scolded her for her uncouth behavior. Nen was looking at the ground. Yao stared straight ahead. She offered Lahan a small bow as he departed. I see. She thought she saw to whom Lahan had really been expounding. How very thoughtful of him. Maomao knew what she was going to do, no matter what answer Yao or Nen gave Luhmen. She had no right to intervene in their lives, no matter what path they chose. She took the remaining piece of potato, which was untouched, and ate it. Then she drank the last of her tea. Chapter 8 Secret Lessons. Maomao went to the pleasure district to check on Seizan. She also went to Jinshi's villa to look after him. Then her break was over. She wrote a letter to Luhmen. She told him her determination remained set, and she wanted to learn more of the medical arts. The vacation ended before she received an answer. When she returned to the medical office, she discovered a mountain of laundry was waiting for her. There is nothing worse than work that has piled up over a long break. Do the laundry right away if you don't mind, Dr. Liu said. He made it sound so simple, but doing laundry in winter was a cold prospect. Her hands were going to go numb. She would have liked to give him a good glare, but now that she knew how much trouble Liuhumen had put him to in their younger days, she felt like she couldn't say anything except yes, sir. There was only one thing to do. She would do what she was told. The pile of laundry showed that the physicians had been working while Maomao and the other ladies were on break. I guess I had better get to it, Maomao said. Most of the laundry was dressings that needed to be disinfected. The first step was to separate the bandages. She needed to divide them into those that were relatively clean and those that were filthy with blood or bodily fluids. The dirtiest bandages would be thrown away. Cleaner ones would have the stains cut from them and then be reused. Bandages were considered consumables and were expected to be discarded after enough use. Maomao especially did not want to use anything with blood on it. Human blood could be a source of contamination. What is this? Yao said, chewing worriedly on her thumb. She was looking at a white coat. Someone must have been treating a severely wounded patient because the coat was covered in blood. It smelled faintly of alcohol, perhaps from an attempt to disinfect it. We cannot have the doctors throwing their coats in this pile. Whose is that? NN said. She looked at the lining. All the doctors' outfits looked alike, so their names were embroidered on the inside. She did not say anything, but her brow furrowed. Maomao looked over her shoulder and discovered the name Tianyu. He was one of the young doctors, a rather freewheeling man. He had tried to ask NN out several times, but she always ignored him. She just flung it aside. NN continued sorting bandages as if nothing had happened. Both of them had been troubled by the conversation with Liuhumen, but as far as Maomao could see, it looked like NN had recovered over the remainder of the break. I do not know what answer they gave him, though. Liuhumen had not even replied to her yet, and she doubted he had answered NN and Yao. Since we are doing the laundry anyway, NN, why do we not go ahead and wash it for him? Yao said. Lady Yao, you must not indulge these people, even if they are doctors. Rules are rules. Specifically, the rule in question was that the physicians were to wash their own medical attire, but they were working while we were on break. NN adopted a most uncharacteristic expression of restrained anger. No doubt she was unhappy to hear Yao giving Tianyu any benefit of the doubt. I'm not sure how to get the bloodstains out though, Yao said. NN made no move to solve that particular problem, so Maomao stepped forward. Give me that for a second, she said. She looked at the faded bloodstains. Enough time had passed that they had become a dark crimson color. Maomao wasn't sure they would come out, but she filled a bucket with cold water and dunked the coat in it. What is your plan? Are you going to use ash? Yao asked. It was a common tactic for getting filth off of laundry. The young mistress had learned a thing or two in her months of doing the wash. Something else was called for here, though. I'm going to go get some materials, Maomao said. She went back to the office and began searching through the medical supplies. What are you looking for? Asked Dr. Liu, who was in the room. I was thinking of daikon to help remove some stains. She knew the large radish was also used as a remedy for a cough. It wasn't just a delicious vegetable, it was also a healthful medicine. Stains? Ah, you mean the blood. Dr. Liu was quick to connect the dots when daikon was mentioned. If you are washing the daikon anyway, then wash these too. He handed her another blood-stained white jacket, then he handed her another and another. She was soon holding 5 or 6 of the jackets. She did not say anything. Got a problem? Perish the thought, sir. He was such an ogre, this doctor. She could hear the barb in his voice. The strong features of his face must have made him quite the popular guy in his younger days, but with age they simply made him a harsh-looking old man. Yet she had heard how he had helped Liuhumen, and for that she would put up with this. Was there a major surgery? She asked. With that ambiguous answer, Dr. Liu went back to working on the daily report. To have soiled so many jackets, there must have been several people who needed surgery, or perhaps one person who needed it very, very badly. Were they even wearing the smocks? Maomao wondered. The amount of blood wasn't very large, but some of the stains bothered her. She also noticed the smell. She knew the laundry service was closed for the winter. She wished the doctors hadn't left these jackets for so long. She put the jackets in a laundry basket and grated some daikon. She said, just take the whole thing. We don't need half a daikon sitting around, Dr. Liu said. Yes, sir. Should I take this to mean we're to get all the stains out? This was a direct order from a superior, so there was nothing to do but obey. It made Maomao regret that she hadn't simply come in, grabbed the daikon and ducked out again. Yao made a sour face when she saw all the new work Maomao was carrying. Sorry. Maomao dunked the white coats, then placed fabric under the stains. Then she began pounding the stains with a cloth ball. It was a piece of cotton filled with grated daikon. And this is going to get the stains out? Yao asked, peering down at her. Yes, she said. Daikon has nutrients that break down blood. It also works if you've wet the bed or spilled some egg. I never knew that. Maomao pulled out the cloth she had put under the coats, making sure the openly impressed Yao could see. The bloodstains had faded from the white jackets and now stained the cloth beneath. The important question was whether they could remove the stains completely, considering how much time had passed. Do you see how it works? If it makes sense, please help out if you would be so kind. We need to do this while the radish is fresh. Right, of course. NN pitched in as well and they started pounding grated daikon into the soiled garments. I'm done, said Yao. Then let's wash them. It defeats the point if we just replace the bloodstains with daikon stains. Right, Yao was a quick study. She was happy to go along with things as long as she understood what someone was doing and why. However, if she had any doubts, she could dig in her heels and hold everything up. They had finished the washing and hung the bandages up to dry when a young doctor came walking by. It was Tianyu, the apprentice physician. Excuse me, Maomao said. NN did not think highly of Tianyu and nobody wanted him to start talking to Yao. Therefore, Maomao became the group's spokeswoman. I'm sorry, but I think your jacket got mixed into our load of laundry. Oh, yes. Sorry about that. Could you wash it for me? The response was light enough, but Tianyu seemed subdued compared to his usual self. Did you have to help with a surgery? Maomao asked. Yeah, I guess. The vague answer nagged at Maomao. First the blood-stained coat and now the obviously fatigued Tianyu. You seem very tired. We won't wash your coat in the future, please understand. It's hanging over there for now. Take it when it's dry if you would. Yeah, sure, Tianyu said with minimal enthusiasm, and then he went off somewhere. I've never seen such a listless doctor, Yao said, angrily cleaning up the bucket they had used. The jackets were out to dry, but the bandages still needed to be boiled for disinfection. From a sanitation perspective, boiling the jackets might also have been a good idea, but boiling would damage the fabric. They weren't considered consumables. It would be better to iron them, but Maomao did not feel like putting in that much effort. She sighed. All right then. When they were dry, she would at least put them under the cots in the medical office. She was tired from doing all the laundry and wanted a break. Since we will be boiling things anyway, how about we cook some potatoes too? Potatoes, Yao said eagerly. She and NN had brought back armloads of potatoes from Lahan when they returned to the dormitory. They had brought so many, in fact, that they had supplied the medical office with some. It was a bumper crop this year, Maomao thought. Sweet potatoes produced a larger harvest than rice, but they did not store as well. The starch syrup she used to make the basi hongsyu was also made from sweet potatoes. The kitchen servant told her this, explaining that she had been finding all kinds of uses for the sweet potatoes, including grinding them up into powder. Making them is easy and delicious. The thought restored some of Maomao's energy. Yao's eyes were shining. Better keep up, Maomao. Coming. With her arms full of sopping bandages, Maomao followed Yao and NN. The sun was already beginning to set by the time they finished disinfecting the bandages and hanging them to dry. I didn't have a chance to do anything. The time had passed quickly, partly because of the amount of laundry, and also because of cooking the potatoes. The three of them were enjoying their snack when several other physicians appeared, asking for some as well. Maomao thought she wished she could mix up some medicine. She wanted to experiment as long as she was in the medical office. Unfortunately, as soon as it became dark, the ladies would be sent home. Also, the bandages had to be brought inside once they were nearly dry, or they would freeze overnight. Maomao looked at the white coats drying along one edge of the laundry area. There was one fewer coat than before someone must have come to collect their garments. Would it have killed him to take everyone with him? She thought. She checked the linings of the coats, curious to see whose jackets were still there. She found Dr. Liu's coat. That wasn't so surprising, but the names on the other jackets made her stop and think. He did say something about surgery, didn't he? A major surgery would require a large team of doctors, but why was Dr. Liu the only experienced physician among the entire group? All the other names on all the other jackets, as best Maomao could recall, belonged to the apprentice physicians. Could the doctors have been doing a dissection? The apprentices had begun to settle into the work. It was reasonable for them to take the next step. If that was what they were doing, Maomao absolutely had to be a part of it. Did my old man get in touch with Dr. Liu? Maomao took the white jackets back to the medical office with some trepidation. Tianyu was the only one there. He was ironing his jacket, the one he had collected. Was he too busy to do anyone else's? Maomao thought this, but she took care to keep her annoyance to herself.